Starfield's gameplay has recently been revealed by Bethesda, and there are dozens of features and mechanics hidden behind the first gameplay trailer ever. Let me show you everything we know so far. Hello everyone, welcome to another video. In this one I'm going to cover dozens of features part of the Starfield gameplay trailer recently released by Bethesda during the Xbox Games Showcase on June 12, 2022. Now this trailer is about 15 minutes long and it entails a massive amount of information, believe it or not. In fact, a lot of things might not catch your eye immediately since they are quite hidden or might appear for a fraction of a second. Anyway, to make your life easier and to ensure you don't miss a thing, I analyzed the trailer in depth and I was able to retrieve 52 features coming to Starfield in 2023. I hope you're ready. It's going to be a long, exciting journey. Let's do this. First things first, character customization in Starfield will be similar to Bethesda's past games, with a fair amount of elements to choose from. You can quickly pick a pre-made profile or fully customize your character, from body types, which are very similar to Fallout 76 by the way, to the way you walk. This one seems to be a brand new feature. There are also face elements like skin tone, head shape, eyes, hairstyle, colors, and so on. I'm not so sure you can fully customize the face details, but there is a possibility since there is this customize button at the bottom of the interface menu, but it's not clear what is it for exactly. Once you're done here, the system will allow you to select 3 starting skills. The skills seem to be all passive effects for all sorts of things, such as unlocking new food recipes to damage increase with a weapon type like pistols. You can even increase your base HP or carry weight, or even your medpack healing effects. And it's possible to persuade NPCs, unlocking vendor discounts or convincing enemies to hold their fire with these dialogue or social perks. The range of skills look really interesting and your choice here can even affect the way NPCs react to you in game. Check it out.
It says here you spent some time as a diplomat. Having a way with words might prove useful.
Still, on the character customization, players can select 3 traits. This part is optional since each trait is a 2-edged sword. It comes with a perk and a con. Also, selecting some traits will block others. For example, being an introvert is incompatible with being an extrovert for obvious reasons. Now, the traits normally entail bonus features like owning a house in the moon or being able to visit your parents at any time you want, but it all comes with a cost. In these 2 cases, money. There are also buffs/debuffs like increased HP and endurance while in space, and the con here is a debuff to both stats while on surfaces of planets. There are even religious and faction traits which conflict with opposing ones based in the game's lore. It's a complex and strategic system with a lot of choice and consequences, so no wonder it's optional. Now, until June 12, the Starfield storyline remained pretty much a mystery, but now we know it will revolve around alien artifacts, which might hold the key to change humanity forever. In fact, several parts of the new trailer reveal that such artifacts are able to communicate with humans who touch it, and they seem to withhold some sort of supreme power.
What's out there? These artifacts could be everything we've been looking for. As to what they are, what they're building, you'll be part of solving that puzzle now. Because whatever lies at the end of this road will change humanity forever.
Honestly, the plot reminds me of the Halo franchise a little bit too much. At least the general points are very similar so far. Let's just hope there will be a twist into it, but overall the player's journey will be all about adventuring into different corners of the galaxy to retrieve these alien artifacts and unleash its power. What are they though? Are they a mega weapon, a door to travel through time and space, a device to unveil ancient knowledge? Well, we will only find out in 2023, I suppose. New Atlantis is one of the cities presented in the new gameplay trailer, and it seems to be the center of everything, at least for the player's mission. New Atlantis is a massive and busy city with its own security and many different districts. I think New Atlantis will most likely be the main hub, where most NPCs, vendors, and important stuff will be located at. Kinda like how the Citadel worked in the Mass Effect series, I would risk to say. Lastly, note that New Atlantis has already been disclosed to be the United Colonies' capital city, the most powerful faction in the game, so expect to find representatives from the United Colonies, of course, as well as their allies. Talking about factions, Bethesda revealed that players will be able to join the Constellation faction very early in the game. I'm not sure you will have a saying in the matter, since this faction seems to be attached to the Artifact storyline and the main missions, so you probably won't have a choice here. Anyway, this one is more like a confirmation, since the gaming media had already unveiled that the Constellation will be one of the main factions. Besides the Constellation and the United Colonies, there are at least 6 more factions in Starfield, as previously announced by Bethesda. There's a fair amount of info about each one as shown. However, in the new trailer, we got to learn a few more details, such as how the Freestar Collective seemed to assume a peacekeeper role.
We're not just here to shoot the bad guys. We're peacekeepers. We protect the people of the Freestar Collective.
On the other hand, the Crimson Fleet is the main hostile faction in Starfield, also known as Pirates. And we got even more details about them. In the trailer, it's revealed that players can sign up with the enemy, but once you do, there is no way out, supposedly.
When you sign up with the Crimson Fleet, no one quits. The only way out is death.
Well, it should be interesting to meet and perhaps even join some of these factions on the long run. I believe you will be able to join most of the known factions, just like we could in previous Bethesda games. Choices, am I right? Yep, choices and personalized content are one of the core features of Starfield, as Todd Howard, Bethesda's director, reinforced during the Xbox Game Showcase 2022. According to Howard, the stories in Starfield are a result of the stories players create by who they are and by the choices they make during their journey.
That gives you a look at the stories in Starfield. But ultimately, it's not our story, it's the story you create by who you are and the choices you make.
Moving forward, earning experience in Starfield works just like in any other traditional RPG, really. Simple actions like killing enemies or unlocking crates reward experience. Discovering new marked locations seem to unlock a lot of experience, surprisingly. It's worth about 5 pirate enemies according to the released footage. Very interesting. Now let's go over the Starfield skill trees. There are 5 in total: physical for character-related buffs like HP and endurance, social for dialogue and NPC-related perks, combat for all sorts of weapon type and combat skills, of course, such as better aim, faster reload, or increased explosive damage. There's also the science and tech skill trees, possibly for medical effects, boosts, robotics, mod enhancement, possibly outpost or even spaceship perks, and so on. Anyhow, you seem to get skill points by leveling up based on experience gain, but to rank up your chosen skills, you will have to complete challenges related to the given skill. In this case, the challenge to level up the ballistic skills is to kill X amount of enemies using a ballistic weapon. It makes sense, right? Moreover, this system probably means players are able to unlock many, if not all, skills in game with one run by simply completing challenges, unless there are skill point limitations, which I did not see, but it's possible that it exists. Now, there's something else you should know here. You don't have to inspect each skill to see your progress every single time. You can just hover over skills as shown on the main tree, and your current rank and challenge will display automatically at the bottom as shown here. Yes, right there. Next, let's go over some basic surface features. The AI scanning and survey system allows players to identify all sorts of useful assets during their journeys, such as resources, objective marks, such as this enemy spaceship. I would go as far as saying the system will also unlock clues for hidden stuff. Bethesda loves to add such sneaky stuff into their games, sometimes even puzzles. Anyhow, the survey system also provides lots of information about the planet you are exploring, such as exterior temperature, oxygen in the atmosphere, gravity levels, survey percentages, and resources discovered so far. Scanning seems to be manual though, so keep that in mind. Since we are talking about scanning, it's the perfect time to mention that you can gather resources as you explore. Each planet spawns different types of resources, and you can check such info through the scan interface. So far we know that alien flora can be gathered and ores can be mined using this sort of laser extractor. Iron in this case, but I'm sure there are many more ores out there. Gathering resources implies a crafting system, and Starfield has a massive one. Even though Bethesda only released a clip with a few seconds, there's a lot of information you can learn from it. First of all, crafting seems to be accessible through a workbench called Research Laboratory, just like in Fallout games. There are also 5 crafting categories: equipment, weapons, food and drinks, pharmacology, and outpost stuff. When it comes to gear mods, it seems like you can research and unlock them over time. For pistols, there are lots of mod slots, which implies an extensive crafting system for weapons and possibly for everything else. Moreover, players will be able to conduct research projects, one per category at a time, as shown in the workbench. It's not clear if you need to acquire some sort of resources or plants first, but it's possible. If not, then it's just a waiting or sitting game. You know, you just have to wait for researches to finish, and then you unlock new recipes, plans, schematics, mods, and so on. Alright, I bet you are wondering, what's up with the Outpost development thing? Well, you will be able to build your own bases, also called Outposts. So it's natural that you can research Outpost plans to build stuff later on. You'll be able to set camp across different planets by placing an Outpost beacon first, but the Outpost limit was not disclosed yet. How many can you build? We will have to wait to find out. However, there is a budget limit per outpost. The outpost system is very similar to the camp system in Fallout 4 and 76, so it's likely that Bethesda will carry on the core features into Starfield 2. Now, something else I noticed about outposts is that there are some very peculiar elements. First, you seem to need power for the outpost to be functional. Secondly, the main purpose of outposts seem to be resource gathering, like food. I even spotted this specific item, hydrophonic lab, which will generate food. I know it's a strange name, but it's the name given for growing plants in sand, gravel, or liquid, so ideal for space. Other structures include science bay, military wing, watchtowers, airlocks, and so much more. Another exclusive perk of building outposts is that you can recruit NPCs to help you run your facilities and make the space more alive. However, it's not known yet if NPCs will have unique skills, and if so, how or in which way will they affect your outposts. It would make sense to recruit a scientist to work at your science bay though, just saying. Anyway, there's more. According to Bethesda, you can also recruit NPCs to join your ship crew and possibly even unlock different parts of your ship, like a med bay. I think there's some really ambitious features right here. What do you think though? Besides crews, players can also recruit companions to tag along during missions and exploration. That's a well-known fact, but so far Bethesda has only unveiled Vasco. We got some new footage in the trailer. Vasco is a huge and intelligent AI robot. Furthermore, it's also not clear about how many companions can tag along, but judging on previous single-player games from Bethesda and this new release footage, I would say it's probably going to be just one, as it happened with Fallout 4 or The Elder Scrolls 5. Yeah, I would bet on one if I had to choose. Now let's dive deep into the combat system. Just like previous Bethesda games, players will be able to choose between playing in first or third-person modes, or even both, since you can easily alternate between the game modes. Something else which was to be expected is the jetpack feature, which is the typical combat and movement mechanic in Fallout games. As a space game, it would make lots of sense to include it into Starfield, and Bethesda did not shy out on this one. However, when you trigger the jetpack, it always seems to consume some oxygen, as shown in these clips. You can track the changes in the meter at your bottom left corner. There's even a boost function to jump higher. It consumes some extra oxygen though. Now you may be wondering why or how does the oxygen meter always goes back so quickly? Well, that's a good question. In this meter, we have oxygen on the left and carbon dioxide on the right, and I suspect this meter works like endurance or stamina bar in previous Bethesda games. Every time you sprint or use the jetpack, it goes down, as in some oxygen is consumed and then it goes back up again. My best explanation here is because the planet where the clips were retrieved had 1% oxygen in the atmosphere, so perhaps, and most likely, players will carry a device to gather oxygen from the environment when it's available. I could be wrong, but I can't think of anything else which makes sense and works with these elements. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. So just like in Fallout games, you can detect enemy presence without visually seeing them. You can rely on your compass to first know when there are enemies close by, as your compass will turn red. And secondly, you can see the direction they are located by the red dots placed in your compass, which show up upon enemy presence. It's a handy tool to have, so don't waste it. In Starfield, most enemies will belong to two separate groups, the pirates from the Crimson Fleet or alien creatures. There are tons of them according to the trailer, so these are the main dangers you should be concerned about, but I would expect some stronger folks too, like bosses named NPCs, and probably elites too, along the way. It's typical for Bethesda. The next feature is a pretty obvious one at this point. Players will be able to choose from a huge variety of weapons, from ballistic to energy guns. There are also explosive weapons and more primitive stuff like melee and bows, according to the combat skill tree at least. During combat, players can use the QUICKBAR to change weapons in a blink of an eye, while keeping the combat gameplay as fluid as possible. The QUICKBAR also comes with a time slow effect to ensure a safer swap every single time. Now, the QUICKBAR comes with 4 weapon slots, so I think it's time to assume the max weapons you can equip at a time is 4, only 4. It's not clear if you can add anything else to these slots. It would be handy, but we don't know yet. Besides 4 weapons at your disposal, you can also count on grenades to aid you in battle, as revealed in this short clip. Other combat mechanics include cover. It seems like any physical object can provide cover in Starfield, but you need to do it manually. Sneaking is also a thing in Starfield, another traditional feature from Bethesda, but I'm not sure how it works exactly. In this clip, the player was sneaking behind 2 enemies' bags and they instantly detected the player. Perhaps you need special items for that epic stealth effect. Chinese stealth armor, anyone? Where is it? Anyway, I spotted this really cool combat feature. It seems like you can perform oxygen or jetpack kills by simply shooting at them. That's another lovely feature from Fallout games, where you can shoot at oxygen bottles or enemies carrying them, and boom, they will instantly detonate and die, of course. Moving forward to spaceships, you will be able to fully customize yours. It's pretty crazy how in-depth Bethesda is going with the ship system. There are dozens of mod slots. In fact, almost every single part of your ship can be exchanged or upgraded, starting with engines, going through hangars and beam reactors, and ending with landers. I don't know, there's like one thing for everything. It's quite impressive, I'm not gonna lie. Now, I know there are other games which allow you to do this, but this level of customization is always very impressive in any RPG, I would say. There's even an extensive coloring system for all the parts of your ship, so you will definitely be able to create the spaceship of your dreams. Just look at that, they come in all sizes, shapes, and forms, just the way we like it. But spaceships in Starfield are far from being just about looks and diversity. As Todd Howard explained, players will be able to fly their ships in all corners of space.
It's not just how the ship looks, it's how it performs, from engines to shields to weapon systems, because yes, you can fly it.
Flying your spaceship seems to be done in both first and third modes, just like it works for your character. However, when you enter the first-person mode, you can access a lot more information and controls. Besides moving, you can boost to move faster or even attack any enemy ships that cross your path. As for the flying navigation, there's a few things we don't quite understand yet, but there's a lot of info on the left bottom corner, such as gravity levels, shield charge, and engine power. There's even a huge connecting bar at the bottom, which we have no idea what is it for yet. When it comes to combat in space, there's a few things to have in mind. First of all, you can check your enemy's ship name, level, as well as their distance from you. shield and HP bars, all shown above or near the ship itself. You can obviously aim and shoot as you please, but there's more into it. Bethesda added a locked system, kinda like the VATS assist system in Fallout. In here, it allows you to lock into an enemy ship as shown, but it's not instant like VATS. It takes a little bit to fully lock. If the ship goes out of sight, the lock mechanism will reset and start from zero again when you try to lock in. Anyhow, when you are successful here, you are able to auto-fire until the target is down or goes out of your sight. Another interesting feature for spaceships is the ability to dock into basically any ship. I even spotted the feature on this random pirate ship, which was my enemy. It was grayed out, but still it proves you can do it. I suppose to dock though, you must damage the enemy ship pretty badly and then get close enough to dock. Otherwise, it would be a bit strange. But there's more. Once you lock in, you can board and possibly explore the interior of other ships. How cool is that? I hope it's real. I really hope so. Besides docking into other ships, it's possible that you could dock into space stations as well. Bethesda showed a few in the trailer, and I don't think it was just a coincidence. I don't think so at all. Something else that might become real is collision damage in space. Bethesda often adds fall damage in their games, and they already showed a few meteor belts in the gameplay trailer, so to me, it's a bit like 1 + 1 = 2. Anyway, to finish up the space part, let's go over the galaxy navigation. According to the trailer, players can mark their way into a certain galaxy system or planet, and spaceships will be able to perform jumps. It wouldn't surprise me if your jump capacity would depend on your ship mods. Anyway, the space jumps look like this. There's a few clips across the trailer. When it comes to planets, players can scan them from space and retrieve basic details such as atmosphere, topography, gravity, fauna, and so on. You can also see the survey meter for that planet, which indicates how much you have explored a given planet already. As for the galaxy view, it always displays the faction in power, as well as the general survey meter, it seems like. According to Bethesda, players will be able to land on any planet and explore it as they please. I know it's hard to believe, but that would definitely make it or break it for Starfield. Each planet has a land option, and you can choose exactly where to land by placing a cursor mark on the planet, as shown here. Without a landing mark, you won't be able to land, of course. I don't think the land button even shows up. Now, what's even more interesting is that Todd Howard unveiled the exploration potential for Starfield, and guys, it's massive. According to Bethesda's director, there will be 100 systems with over 1,000 planets to explore. That's exactly what he said. If it's true or not, we need to wait for the release to cross-check facts. Listen up.
And it's not just this planet. It's all the planets in the system. From barren but resource-heavy ice balls to Goldilocks planets with life. And not just this system, but over 100 systems. Over 1,000 planets, all open for you to explore.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm really impressed if this is true. It's a lot of exploration potential and a lot of content if you think about it. It's not only the planets you can explore though, there are dozens of cities and places you can visit. I'm saying dozens because I'm judging by the trailer, maybe there's hundreds. It wouldn't surprise me considering all the planets you can land on. But returning to what we know, each location is more exotic than the last. There's so much diversity and I love it. There's really some unexpected places coming up, from a cyberpunk city to mega science compounds. Things are looking really promising, right? And because Starfield seems to be going in depth with everything, players will also be able to dress to impress, with possibly dozens of outfits to choose from. And thanks to skies, it won't be just about spacesuits. No, there's going to be casual and all sorts of clothing, really. Now, before we finish up the list, I want to mention that the mission updates are very subtle and will show up on your bottom left corner. There has to be a mission log somewhere in your inventory with all the details, but for quick tracking, make sure to look at your top left corner. It will make your life much easier and quicker. Something interesting you might have missed in the trailer is this biometric feature, which allows players to access restricted or locked areas. It's not clear how will this feature work yet, but I believe Bethesda is going to lock faction/top secret areas behind this ID. As typical of Bethesda games, lockpicking will also be a thing in Starfield, possibly hacking too, but I couldn't find evidence for the second one. As for lockpicking, players need to manually match the missing pinholes and get the right combination in order as shown. It's a very straightforward system, and it's not exactly new. Many other games have done this in the past. There are also lockpicking or security difficulties. This one is novice. Next, the following combat feature almost slipped me, but it's something to be excited about. I'm talking about zero gravity, where players can show off their skills in a very different setting, with its own way of moving and fighting, I suppose. Very, very different. Lastly, Starfield will have a photo mode, just like most Bethesda games. I know most of you guys love this one, so I kept it for last. This one is really sneaky, but in a few clips you can see the options sitting there. Basically, when you scan something, several options will pop up at the bottom, and one of them is photo mode. So get ready for some upcoming action and the ability to take astonishing digital photography in space. I would say that the limit is the sky, but in this case it's totally not true. So let's go to the outro. That is a long list of features coming and a lot of info to digest, I know, but I tried to go beyond the obvious and bring you as many details on the Starfield gameplay as I could. Now, if you are wondering why 52 features, well, I first aimed for 25, but after reviewing the trailer some dozen of times, I ended up with over 40. Then, while editing, I spotted a few more things, so I ended up here with 52 in total. It was not really planned, to be honest. Anyway, Bethesda is really going all or nothing with Starfield, and honestly, I think it's going to be another remarkable RPG from Bethesda for many years to come. Perhaps it will even become a new franchise like The Elder Scrolls and Fallout, you never know. But one thing is for sure, I have no doubt that Starfield will delight RPG players in 2023. It has everything to succeed, even if the game ends up delivering lots of bugs, as it usually happens with Bethesda titles. Either way, I'm really excited about Starfield. Please let me know if you would like to see more news and coverage on this game. Now it's time to wrap things up. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a like, subscribe, and all of that to help the channel out. I'm Marta Branco, and I will see you all very, very soon in the next one. Until then, take care. Adios. Bye bye.